I spent 30 days doing a strict paleo diet, and I want to share my insights from the month with you guys. If you're not familiar with the paleo diet, it basically does its best to mimic what early humans would have eaten. The base of the diet is vegetables, animals, and fruits, and it excludes dairy, grains, and anything processed. It's hypothesized that this way of eating is easier on our system because it's natural foods that come from the earth that humans have always consumed. This will hopefully result in a better working body with less inflammation. Of course, in later years, we have created more foods that are made by man and don't come from the earth. So are these foods meant to be consumed by us? Can they wreak havoc on your body? It's definitely a possibility and something to explore for each of us. So in my last diet update, I shared how I pulled out sugar, coffee, and any alcohol from my diet. So I was already in a really good place to hop right into paleo. The main things I needed to stop eating were grains like oats, rice, and bread, dairy like butter and cheese, and any processed oils. So takeaway number one from this month is that eating paleo is quite sensible, and it's really pretty easy to do as long as you're in the right situations. Most of my meals consisted of a cut of meat or eggs, potatoes, and vegetables. For lunch, I'd enjoy fruits like apples, berries, and peaches, along with some nuts or almond butter. It's a very satisfying diet. There's no restriction on how much you can eat as long as they're whole and natural foods. Now, paleo is much easier if you're cooking for yourself. It amazed me how eating out, even at healthier places, you can always find some type of milk product in your food, a highly processed vegetable oil, or a lot of sugar. And buying something packaged at the grocery store almost always has some crazy preservative in it that you probably can't even pronounce. And you can even find these in the healthier foods, let alone junk food. This leads me into takeaway number two, is that we really need to be cautious of what we're putting in our body. The food industry is one of the biggest in the world, and let's be real, they don't care about you. They want you to buy their food, crave it, and buy it again, despite the unhealthy ingredients. And even when you eat out at a well-meaning restaurant, most can't afford to use, let's say, a extra virgin olive oil as opposed to a highly processed canola oil. So about a week in, I could actually feel my body detoxing. I imagine I was consuming a lot less carbohydrates and quick digesting substances, so my body was adjusting to that. And honestly, a few days I felt completely fatigued, but once I got past that point, I started feeling really good, a more sustained energy, no crashing after meals, and a lot less cravings. So my takeaway number three is that we have to take full responsibility of what we're consuming. Most of us, myself included, for many years, are in this constant cycle of feeling some stress, giving into a craving, and getting that momentary satisfaction, but then feeling like dirt, and then slowly working our way back to neutral until we give into that craving again. Sound familiar? If we're constantly consuming foods that are not so natural for humans to eat, it doesn't take a genius to see that we won't operate at our fullest potential. Or maybe you can for a while, especially while you're young, but 10, 20 years down the line, it'll eventually catch up to you and result in some type of health issue. Most people change their diet once something bad happens to their health. Let's get ahead of it. So number four, when we talk about diet, most of us link this to physical health, but I found a strong correlation between my diet and my emotional health as well as my mindset. With less cravings came less mood swings. I think eating cleaner leads into your whole system just feeling cleaner. Your emotional state and mindset can stay a bit more even and resistant to stress. And I think your emotional health is probably the most important, because if you don't feel good, then life will suck. Personally, I found for myself that I definitely have a bit of an intolerance to gluten, but I built up my sensitivity from tons of years of cramming down bread and other grains. If I'm honest, I even used to mock the gluten-free products, like, wow, really you can't handle a little bread? Turns out I was handling it, but it was putting me in a state of constantly being a little bit off. Once I removed it, my body and mind felt a lot better and a lot more clear. So is the paleo diet for everyone? Is it for you? I think the only way to find this out is to start experimenting and seeing how it affects you. And this takes really being honest with yourself. Maybe something that you love actually doesn't make you feel that great. It's a bit of a bummer, yes, but feeling good in day-to-day life completely makes up for it. Now I'm sure a lot of us can eat oatmeal and have some rice and be completely fine. You don't have to go full paleo necessarily. I think the greater message is to be aware of what you're consuming. Preservatives and foods that are highly processed are not natural. Do we really want to take the chance of consuming a lot of them? It's also worth noting that food companies are becoming smarter. Things will be labeled organic or keto or plant-based or gluten-free just so you'll think that they're healthy. But if you read into it more, they may have all kinds of garbage ingredients. So it's on you to do some research. For me personally, after this month, I have no desire to go back to sugar or bread or tortilla chips, all things that I know are extremely tasty and that I love. But I know that my mental clarity starts to leave and I have more cravings for more less than optimal foods. I'll be less strict for the most part, but I'll be sticking to a paleo style diet for the foreseeable future. That is, until I try something new. So what type of diet protocols do you follow? Do you read food labels? Cook for yourself? Is there a diet that you'd like me to try out and report back on? Comment below and let us know. Now, if you're interested in learning more, Mark Sisson's book, The Primal Blueprint, gives some great information and practical advice on the paleo diet. I also want to shout out a couple companies, Primal Kitchen, Siete, and Evolved for making really awesome products with only whole natural ingredients in them. Lastly, some people have been asking about the ropes that I've been using. Rope flow has been a super fun activity for me to get into over the last 3 months, and I've been finding a lot of crazy benefits. If you guys want to hear a little bit more on the rope and some practical advice for you using it yourself, comment below and I'll make a video on that very soon. I hope this video gives you guys some ideas and hopefully makes you a little bit healthier. Make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Strength Side, and as always,